Hey fam, I'm Carlos. Welcome to Beanie Talks 43. Have you ever heard the phrase, the elephant in the room? What does that phrase mean? Well, it doesn't mean a literal elephant. And what it typically means is the issue or the topic or the conversation that everyone sees but is ignoring. Well, this week we are talking about one of the cultural elephants, porn culture. That's right. We're talking about that four-letter word that makes most of us cringe just by hearing it. But hang in with me, don't stop watching, because I believe not only is this conversation 100% necessary, it has the potential to lead into some really, really good things. But before we continue in this conversation, let's remind ourselves of some of the values we've committed in this series. Number one, we are committed to freedom from condemnation. Number two, we're committed to freedom from shame. And number three, we're committed to honestly seeking the truth. All right, let's jump in. Let's first define porn culture. Porn culture is anything that feeds into unhealthy and harmful views of sexuality. And I want to make the argument that porn culture is all around us. It is the elephant in the room. Think about this. Depending on what kind of music you listen to, you hear references to things that are somewhat pornographic in them. Consider some of the most popular pop songs. What are they talking about? And specifically, what are the messages given around the topic of sex? When you watch Netflix or YouTube or you scroll through TikTok or Instagram, you've probably seen things that could be labeled as porn. Just because they're not X-rated or TVMA doesn't mean that this content doesn't have undertones of porn or pornographic images or messages. Or consider some of the trending challenges on TikTok. Do they have any messages about the topic of sex? And ask yourself, are they healthy or harmful? Hey, before I continue, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that if you've been consuming pornographic content that you need to feel shame. Remember our second value. But I hope that by the end of this, we can become more aware and honest about this taboo topic. Let's take one more significant fact. The average age of exposure to porn is 11 years old. So we're talking about something, when we're talking about porn, we're talking about something that's already affected someone around you. By no means am I assuming that you've already had encounters with porn. I'm just making a point that this is a pre-teen thing. It's a teenage thing, and it's an adult thing. This affects everyone on the planet who has access to the internet. And if something affects everyone on the planet, we feel it's 100% necessary to talk about it in a manner that's helpful and healthy. Here's another elephant riddle. How do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time, of course. So let's break down porn culture together. And most importantly, let's learn to consider before we consume. Consider this. We're not just affected by porn, we're actually influenced by the culture of porn. What do I mean? Because we've already discussed that porn culture is all around us. TikTok, Instagram, gaming, sexting, movies, music, advertisements, conversations with friends. These can be unhealthy views of sex, and they're everywhere. Plus, did you know that the porn industry generates $12 billion a year? That's more than the combined annual revenues of ABC, NBC, and CBS. It's all around us all the time, and it's impossible to spend time around something and not be affected by it. Consider this. Porn is sexualized content designed to give a specific response. Like most things in life, porn has a purpose, and that purpose is ultimately not what is best for us. Consider this. A lot of people start watching porn because they're curious. So it's kind of like fake sex education. The problem is that porn was never designed to educate you. It was designed to hook you and make you and I addicted. It was designed to manipulate us. We're being influenced by something that's teaching us a fake education. And what's interesting is that you and I, we're typically quick to see right through things that aren't legit, aren't we? For example, how many of you love McDonald's? Hey, no judgment, remember. No one's mad at you if you do or mad at you if you don't. Let's just say that a McDonald's manager came in here and talked about healthy eating. And he or she talked about eating things like Big Mac's, fries, and McFlurries. None of you would fall for it. You'd see right through it. You'd be like, why are you allowing this person to teach us about healthy nutrition? Well, going to porn is like going to McDonald's to eat healthy. It would have adverse effects. Going to porn for sex or sex education, it's the same. It has adverse effects and can actually hurt and harm us and the ones we love. Hey, speaking about the experts, this would not be a Beanie Talk unless we took a look at the Bible and what it has to say. You know, there's a book in the Bible called Proverbs, and if you don't know much about the Bible, know this much. It's actually a collection of books. The Bible is many books, but it's primarily split up into two big sections, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is simply pre-Jesus walking the earth, and the New Testament is Jesus on earth and everything that happened after him. It's quite simple, right? Well, the book of Proverbs, it's in the Old Testament, and it's a book of poetry that's primarily about wisdom, which simply means truths that make your life better. These Proverbs were written by an ancient king named Solomon, who was famously known as an extremely wise person. But what does an ancient king have to say that would be relevant to our lives today? Some of it might be confusing, but a lot of it actually makes sense in the lives of teenagers and adults alike. For example, the verse we're going to be looking at today says this: "The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps." Proverbs 14:15. Simple is basically naive. For example, a simple person believes everything they read online. They think every science experiment works like they see on TikTok. They fall for any prank because they're easily tricked, gullible. The simple believe anything. And when it comes to porn, maybe you've heard or thought statements like this: "It's not hurting anyone. There are worse things I could be doing. I'm not doing anything. I just looked. At least I'm not having sex with a real person." We've been naive when it comes to porn. We've believed everything. But hear this: porn never tells the whole story. The Bible says, "The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps." Hey friends, I want to tell you about a website called fightthenewdrug.org. They've compiled decades of studies from respected institutions about pornography, which means that if you really want to take a deep dive into learning about this topic, then I recommend looking no further than this resource. Their website has assembled over 1,000 pornography-related articles, and I just want to share some of the research facts that they've discovered. First of all, porn has been shown to negatively affect a person's relationship. Consider the following facts. Frequent exposure to pornography is associated with the belief that marriage is sexually confining and that having children and a family is not a good idea. Frequent exposure to pornography is associated with believing it's possible to have a high sexual satisfaction without having affection for one's partner. Frequent exposure to pornography is associated with less trust in intimate partners. Porn has been shown to negatively affect a person's mental health. Studies have found that porn use is correlated with lower quality of life and a poorer overall health. Even moderate porn use is correlated with damage to parts of the brain involved with motivation and decision making. Compulsive pornography users are at risk for higher levels of depression and stress. According to this website, porn has negatively impacted the world. The sex acts shown in pornography are unrealistic and often abusive, leading to actual domestic abuse. When adolescents, both male and female, are exposed to sexualized media, they are more likely to have stronger notions of women being sex objects. Pornography makes violence appear sexy, and experts are now making a clear distinction between the porn industry and human trafficking and other sex crimes. Porn doesn't tell you the facts like this when you look at it. It wants you to be distracted and addicted. It doesn't want you to have a full, complete life. Consider this. Porn will not make you better at sex. It might actually make you worse because it damages your relationships. Porn will not make sex better for you. It will actually make it less desirable because it doesn't give you realistic expectations of sex. Porn will not help you understand what sex is like. It will actually confuse you and lead you further away from understanding. Friends, God isn't against porn because he thinks the act of sex is bad. He's anti-porn because pornography has twisted what was intended sex to be. He is anti-porn because it devalues people he cares about, which is all of us. He's anti-porn because it's bad for us and bad for others. God is 100% loving, and there's absolutely nothing loving about pornography. God is anti-porn because porn is anti-love. You know, the second part of the verse says this: the prudent gives thoughts to their steps. This means that a person evaluates information carefully so that they don't fall into a trap. And that's exactly what porn is. It's a trap. A trap that wants something from you: time, attention, money, addiction. And in exchange, it gives you a false sense of sexual closeness. A prudent person is basically someone who is wise. And many, many years after Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament, a man named Paul wrote a letter that became part of the New Testament. He wrote to a group of people that he loved and he cared about, and this is what he said: "Be careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise." When Paul says, be very careful, it's similar to Solomon saying, give thought to your steps. Don't believe everything you hear. Porn never tells the whole story. When you're being manipulated, step the other way. Be prudent, be wise. Get yourself away from something that's so destructive. It would be crazy for someone to teach us about being healthy from a menu at a fast food restaurant, right? We would see right through it. We need to have the same mentality when it comes to porn culture. There are a lot of steps we could all take. But for the sake of today and this week, we're simply going to focus on two. Number one, refuse to be fooled. Train your brain. When you hear the popular song or become aware of the latest trend on TikTok, argue with it, question it. What is this trying to sell me or convince me to do? What's the message behind this? All of you are critical thinkers. You're smart. You see right through so many things that are fake or manipulative or dangerous. You have access to those same smarts when it comes to porn culture. Remember, it's everywhere and it wants something from us. It doesn't care about you or wants what's best for you. It wants to trap you. Be wise, be smart, be careful. Number 2, refuse to participate. Create a plan for yourself to set yourself up for success before you even reach the trap. Think ahead. What will you do when you come across pornographic content or are tempted to believe the lies of porn culture? How will you stop the manipulation? Sometimes it's not enough for you to know you're being tricked. You need help to get unmanipulated. Maybe you need to take concrete action by putting some restrictions around your access to technology. If an industry that makes $12 billion a year, you can believe that it's very persuasive and convincing. Remember, it's a trap, and it's not possible to get out of every trap by yourself. Talk to a trusted adult or small group leader. Let them know what's going on. We're here to listen. It may be that there are some things you need to confess and get off your shoulders. It may be that you need to talk to someone to get accountability, or to just check in from time to time. We are here to help and fight against porn culture together. Hey, none of us want to be a part of something that manipulates us. We don't want to associate with something that hurts us and others. We're smart. We don't want to be controlled. But porn culture, guys, it's sneaky. But now that we've named it, we can open up our eyes and see it for what it really is and step the other way. And imagine if we did. How liberating would it be to move forward without being trapped by something that's so destructive to so many people? We would hurt ourselves and others less, and that's a big deal. That's a big win. Friends, porn never tells the whole story. But on the other hand, we have a God that loves us immensely, and out of his love for us, wants good things for us. He wants to see us thrive and not suffer. Porn, on the other hand, is hurtful and damaging, but God wants what's better for us. And he's given us incredible minds to see through the lies, and incredible helper to walk away. So choose wisdom, be proactive, be willing to have hard conversations. Guys, this is worth the fight. This conversation, it doesn't end with this Beanie Talk. Let's continue this conversation. We invite you to Wednesdays, whether that's in person or Zoom. We want to talk about this in community. Let's address the elephant together. Guys, if this was helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.
Keeping it moving, keeping it moving. What are we doing if we ain't moving? Hey.